What's going on, everyone? Riddict here, and welcome to Off the Shelf Airguns. Today we're going to be taking a look at the air compressor, the PCP air compressor that I got off of Amazon at a very budget-friendly price. And we're going to see if it does what it's supposed to. So let's get into it. Here it is, the compressor from Amazon for small to medium PCP rifles and guns. You can see that it does have a separate power supply, so it is very old school in operation, very manual operation. You don't have auto shut off on this. You got an external power supply, but for the price you pay and it works, really can't go wrong. Up here you can see your fill gauge is on the top. Digital display back here shows you the temperature of the unit, which is important. This is your air release valve right here. On the front, small power button is for your fan. Large power button is to turn the compressor on. This is your hose. High pressure hose. Can't just use any hose here, folks. Filter goes inside this right here that you can replace, that they do provide a few replacements and other little spare parts they provide you with. For those that decide to go with this model, here's your power supply. All these wires and stuff, before you get intimidated, all these wires and stuff are already hooked up. And like I said, you can get up to a 4-year warranty. I just did the 3-year. This plug goes in the compressor, and then power cord goes right to your standard outlet. This thing is loud in operation. Just keep that in mind. So you may not want, if you have kids or something, you may not want to run it at nighttime, waking them up out of bed easy. The fan is actually the loudest part on this one. The compressor's loud as it is, but the fan is what's really loud. But that's good. That means it's working, keeping everything nice and cool. So there it is. Let's go ahead and test it out. Alright, now that I showed you around the compressor and what we got going on here, we're going to fill up the nose hose. First things first, you will need your probe, of course, your Foster. Let's bring this over here, right about here, and then turn your little slider here so that you can get the probe in, slide it in. Just like so. And from here I can see the gauge. So we're going to go ahead and take the, you have to take this in here where the filter is. That usually is where you want the, you know, to connect to your gun. You want the end where the filter is. Like I said, this has little air, like little filters you put in here to replace and whatnot. Keeps the air nice and clean going into the gun. So connect that to the gun. Plug in our power supply. Now this isn't going to be a thing for those that have ones with built-in power supplies, like I said, so just remember that. Plug in our power supply. Okay, that. And then we're ready to rock and roll. Now this thing is loud. Okay, so just know right off the bat, this thing is mega loud. Don't worry, I'm going to lower the volume when we turn it on, but when you fire this up, especially the fan in this is ultra loud. Now, bigger and better models may be different than that, I have no idea, but in this particular little budget compressor, loud, to say the least. The fan is louder than the compressor by a country mile, let's just put it that way. But we got to fire up the fan first. So we'll do that. Fan bogs down a little bit, then it comes back. Alright, we're all filled up. Now, one thing that's very important for those that are new to this and they may not know, before you even think about disconnecting your hose or anything like that, you got to bleed the air off. Now, of course, on this compressor, the valve is over on the side of it, and in my personal experience with hand pumps and whatnot, and this one, since I have used it a few times already, you want to bleed it off quick. You don't want to try to disconnect it right now, or else you could risk injury, seriously. Okay, this ain't nothing to mess around with. So, everything's off, right? I'm going to bleed the air. Nice and quick, just like that. Now we can pull this out. We're ready to rock and roll. Take our gun and triple check it here. Oh yeah, ready to rock and roll now. Now, I will say, you do not want to overfill your guns or anything like that. Every gun tells you what its max PSI is or what it can handle. Of course, you can always look at the gauges, watch the gauge on your pump, watch the gauge on your gun. I like to watch the gauge on the gun personally. Once the needle's up and then at the edge of the green right before the red for, you know, as it builds pressure, cut it off right there at that line, good to go. Don't let it get into the red. Some people like to go crazy and see what they can do and push it to the limit. Don't do that. At least to my people that are just getting into this, don't do that. Experienced people, hey, you do whatever you want. But when you're shooting and the needle's going down, also when it gets to the edge of the green going into the red as it's going down, that's about where you want to stop shooting. And because that's the green is where you're going to get most of your power. That's going to be your consistent power in that green zone. Once it gets down to that red, I usually like to just stop right there, top it back off. And so there you go. So far, budget Amazon compressor, working good. Plus, like I said, I got a 3-year warranty on it. So if anything goes wrong, simply get it replaced. No harm, no foul. And yeah, so not bad at all. If you want something that's, if you're not going to get anything huge, you know, no big PCP guns, and you're just getting into things like the Notos or the Jet or maybe the Flash or the Gamma Arrow or any of these other PCP guns in that size range, even though this could handle up to a 500cc tank with no problem, because it doesn't even get hot when filling these guns. So this could handle up to a 500cc tank. You may have to take like a couple breaks if it builds up the heat. The compressor builds up the heat. You may have to just stop and take a break, then fill again. And speaking of filling up the Notos takes about a minute and a half tops. It may take longer on the first fill, but subsequent fills should only take about a minute and a half, because you don't want the needle to completely drop out of the green. Once it's starting to drop out of the green, you want to fill your gun, top it back off. This will do it in lickety-split, man. Lickety-split. Especially a gun like the Jet with a little bit smaller tank. It's even faster. So, hey, sure beats hand pump. Hand pumps are cool, but after a while, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that. So, for all I'm doing, this will be perfect. Eventually, will we get something bigger and better? Who knows? It's hard to say. You never know about me. So, there you go. With that said, catch you all down the road.